What's going on here? All right, I'd like to call to order the Bellefonte Borough Council work session, please. Welcome, everybody, to the Bellefonte Borough Council work session. No council action or making motions or approvals is taken during the work session. We ask Vice President Barbara Dan for our trivia question tonight.
Thank you. Bellefonte is home to 5 Pennsylvania governors. Can you name them? Anybody pick one?
Beaver.
Curtin.
Beaver, Curtin.
Bigler.
Bigler, good. Hastings.
Whoa. That's a quick 4. Good.
And that was good. Anybody
Wow.
for the 5th one?
It's got to be a name of a town nearby.
It's not Lynn.
No, it's not. And second clue, it's not a street either.
Lynn? Oh, it's not a street, okay.
Because that
That's
was
good
next.
hit.
Okay. So while Mr. Johnson finds that, there's a second part to this. I didn't know there were 2 other governors from Bellefonte who were
Kansas
governors.
and California.
Who were they?
I don't even know what the
How does
question
somebody
was.
know that?
Yeah, how did you know that?
It was stoned down in California.
I do all the time, and I'm like, I didn't remember that.
One's another
Did you get
Bigler.
the other one, Doug?
No, who's the 5th governor?
Packer. William Fisher Packer.
That's a good
Two
one.
of the governors were brothers, but I don't
Yes,
remember.
John Bigler
Bigler.
and William Bigler.
And
Yep.
one of them's buried in Clearfield.
Oh, really? That's, how do you know that? Great, thanks for playing.
Good one. Okay, items for discussion. The Veterans Parking Sign by the Brownstone Building. Mr. Holderman, do you have?
I think Julie's.
Okay.
taking us here.
So we have a couple places we could make a space there or use one of the 2 existing spaces. There's 3 spaces on the opposite side of the diamond, so we did remove a space from there, so.
Do you want to first go over what I think this was originally going to go
That's-
in front of the courthouse. You
Correct.
just want to kind of back up and
Yeah,
explain why you're looking at an alternative location?
This is what we're talking about. The vote that was for the veterans parking spot some time ago, so.
Yes.
With the sign, now we're just trying to figure out the best place to put it.
correct. Originally, you had approved to put it in front of the courthouse, but the buses come up there, and that would be, it would restrict the visual area there, so it wouldn't be a great location. So we were considering this side. The courthouse construction also is, restricts where we could put it around the courthouse right now also. And we did want to get that up this year, so hopefully one of these spots would be a good alternative to the directly in front of the courthouse area.
There's 2 options here. Council could consider, as you know, there used to be 4 parking spaces here. After the tragic incident a few years ago, for visibility, I think we cut it down to 2. Opposite this side, the Face Center, there's 3 parking spaces. So you could maybe go back to a 3rd space here, or eliminate one of the metered space, one of those 2 metered spaces, and put it there. That was what we were thinking as the options for you all to discuss. No, the 2 vehicles here in front of the brownstone, you could take one of those parking places and put the veteran sign, so you'd have 1 metered space and 1 veteran sign, or just take a 3rd space here next to the van and make the veteran space there a 3rd parking space, and you wouldn't be removing any of the other 2 parking spaces. If you did that, it would be equivalent to what's on the other side, because there's 3 parking spaces over there.
I personally would be concerned about the visibility. It's a whole different situation as drivers come around the turn from Allegheny onto High. That's why we did take out those 2 spaces to improve safety for people backing out, as well as the driver coming around the corner. It's a lot different on the other side of the diamond by the Steak Burger place. You know, you have all of Allegheny, or all of High Street to kind of watch and see somebody pulling out or backing out. I would just be concerned if we went back and added a space where we took them out for safety reasons.
Ralph, do we still have a bus stop there beyond the crosswalk? There used to be a bus stop where the cross.
You know, with the Cata Go, if it is there, it hasn't been used. We haven't had, it was used only during the fixed route situations.
So would there be space there for parking space? There used to be a space there until we created a bus stop, but now we have the crosswalk there, and I don't know how tight it becomes now.
We'd have to look at it. It's possible. It's, you know,
That
that's.
makes more sense.
That would make more sense, either look at that location or use one of those existing spaces.
I'd like to add on to what Ralph said. When we had that tragic incident, we had Pannoni come in, and after them reviewing, they were the one that recommended we take out a minimum of those 2 spaces. I do not believe putting one of those back is going to help us any safety-wise. So if we're going to put them there, I would put it where that van is, or what Doug just said, and put it at the bus stop area. I think on the other side of the street, I'm not sure that, because this seems, if it's there, it's a little easier for the veteran to get in and out.
What was the thought process to share with us, going into these 2 decisions? I mean, I like either one of the options, but I agree with what Ralph said. I guess if they recommended,
Yeah,
what was the process here going into
well,
this?
they were the
There's
2
limited
options,
options.
and Ralph's option is probably the one that we would recommend, would be just to eliminate 1 spot there and put it there. I think going back to what Doug said, if you go a little farther down, that crosswalk's there now, so there isn't even any there wouldn't be any place to even have a parking place there.
Right.
So, you know, we were just trying to, you know, give you the option if you wanted to go back to a 3rd one, knowing what we know and what our engineer, you know, said and recommended. You know, I think there seems to be a decent amount of parking in town during the day. I don't think if you took away a space, you're going to miss that much.
Well,
So
we're really not taking away. We have a lot of veterans in town. So.
I mean, taking away a metered space.
What is, if I recall years ago, wasn't there a police-only parking coming down the one-way on High Street right outside of Confer's Jewelers? That's a location that I'm not sure, is that metered now? I know that it used to be police-only. It was right outside of Confer's. I had thought of that space because it's close to the courthouse, all the crosswalks, close to the Elks.
I think that's still marked for police.
Is it?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Would this, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
would this be a temporary measure, and then after the construction work on the courthouse is finished, it could be moved closer to the courthouse?
I don't think we saw this as temporary, but, you know, obviously you can always go back and make any changes at any time, so that would be up to, you know, council.
I was sort of thinking the same as you. But let's do it, and we can always adjust if we find it's not ideal.
We can do that, and then certainly, I mean, the mayor's comment, I mean, I don't know if the police would want to, I mean, they do park there just to observe quite often, but if they were willing to, you know, give up that space, I mean, obviously, we could move it over there.
I think if you look, it might be on Wednesday only for Central Court. That's what I remember. We had Wednesday only parking because of Central Court, but
Yeah, Central Court would be Wednesday, but I think the police actually sit there at times and monitor the downtown area.
And that's, I thought that it got moved. I thought the police-only spot was directly in front of the courthouse now, but I think, am I mistaken on that?
where Santa would go.
Yes,
Yes.
where Santa is, yes. I thought that's where the police-only parking was, not coming down the one-way right outside of the old Confer Jeweler main door.
There's actually some in both, there's a sign in both locations right now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
For police only.
So originally, just to give you a real quick background, a community member reached out to me and said they had seen these in other communities, and excuse my ignorance, I tried to find the email, but my phone's not allowing me to get emails. She brought this to my attention, we brought it to council. Julie, thank you for all your work in getting the sign. And originally, that's the spot that I had thought of, right outside of Confer Jewelers, because I had thought that the police-only parking moved in front of the courthouse. So if that's an option, yes, we would have to speak with Chief Whitmer to see what he would think would be in the best interest of the police department and the community. I do like the space outside of the old Confer's Jewelers the best, because it's not metered. We could just switch signs out, especially if there's police-only parking directly in front of the courthouse. But I'm just throwing that out for thought.
I agree, because it's closer. Closer, too. Yeah,
To
I
the
like it.
center of town.
As long as the chief doesn't have any trouble with it.
Right. There is a space for the police at the front of this, right in front of my shop. There are 6 parking meters behind that, and it may be an okay option to take the first parking meter, if we can't do that for the police, and do that way too. I think it gives the veterans pretty much, they're pretty close to any place downtown.
Just thinking about this, now that we were just sitting here discussing, I mean, it could be possible that you could keep the police sign up and have the veteran sign, because it's only the Bellefonte police that use that parking space, and they only do it at times. So you would be eliminating the veteran space maybe 5% of the time. So that may be an option to keep it as both as well, if that would be an option.
I was actually just thinking that, and we're so close together that I think my thoughts went right to you. So, good work, Don. I like that idea.
So with the construction that's going on at the courthouse right now, could that be set up now and use it? Or do we need to temporarily put it here and then move it later?
We can park on the whole downhill side right now.
So why don't we just go there? Because it sounds like a good compromise.
Yes, we could do that right now, yes.
All right. As long as it's okay with Chief Whitmer, he doesn't see any issue, we'll just put it on the agenda next time. And
Thank you, everybody.
yeah, that sounds good.
I think it's a very great thing for our community to honor veterans and have a parking space there. So thank you.
Just out of curiosity, anyone know what's going on in the old conference place?
I think they're renting it for another year.
Any other discussion on the veterans parking sign? Any other discussion or questions on the veterans parking sign? Julie, any other pictures? That's it?
Nope,
right.
that's it. All that work for that,
That's
I know.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping for a slide presentation. That's a good picture.
There's I
right.
was going to do that, but we had 2 pictures. And
All right, well, if there aren't any other discussion or questions, that'll conclude our Bellefonte Borough business, or our work session. I'd like to call to order the Bellefonte Borough Council business meeting, please. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bernier,
Here.
Mr. Brackbill,
Here?
Ms. Cleaton,
Here.
Ms. Stan,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Ms. McKean,
Here.
Ms. Purnell,
Here.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Here.
Ms. Tosti Vasey,
I'm here.
Mr. Larson,
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you, Ralph. Additions to the council meeting agenda. Do we have any council members that would like to make an addition to the council agenda? Go ahead, Joanne.
Yes, I would like to add a discussion, I suspect under new business, on regarding placing the LCAP program presentation on a future work session.
That has to be unanimous vote. Is that correct, you guys?
Has to be a majority vote.
Majority? Sorry.
Yes.
What is LCAP?
Yeah, what is LCAP?
Local Climate Action Plan program that Penn State University has taken over from DEP.
Okay, so everyone understand the request to add that item to a future agenda. We're going to go around and have a vote if there's no further discussion. I can't.
I was asking to add under new business discussion about inviting Brandy Robinson from Penn State University to come to a work session to talk about the new LCAP program.
Everybody know what the LCAP program is?
LCAP.
LCAP,
I don't even think we know how to say it.
Local Climate Action Plan.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? Oh, we need a second. Yes, thank you, Barbara. A second. Okay.
All right, Mr. Bernier,
No.
Mr. Brackbill,
No.
Ms. Cleaton,
Yes.
Ms. Dan,
No.
Mr. Johnson,
No.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
No.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Motion doesn't pass. Next, any other additional council meeting agenda comments or discussion? Now we'll move on to public comment. Anyone like to come up to the podium and speak? I see you nod your head. Come on up. Please state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Hello, I'm Donald Townsend from Logan Street here in Bellefonte. I'm also one of your friendly neighbors. This Saturday, May 11th, is the annual Stand Out Your Letter Carriers Food Drive, hosted by the United States Postal Service and partnered with the Faith Center here in Bellefonte, and also serving the Pleasant Gap area. You likely received a little postcard advertising the event. It's a little best. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. All food donations are brought to our local food bank to serve our local residents. We made it as convenient as possible for you to participate with a couple of options. One, you can simply leave all non-perishable goods at your mailbox, preferably in a paper plastic bag with a note attached. My first couple of years as a mailman, I accidentally stole someone's groceries. And then 1 year, I accidentally took someone's trash. If you are going to leave some food, please let me know. It's the right thing to pick up. Also, around the downtown area, I've set up some boxes at the YMCA, the Elks, the Moose, the library, even the food pantry, the Dollar General. If you would prefer to perhaps make a donation to one of those boxes. And also, of course, at the post office itself, we have a large container. We will be having volunteers drive around on Saturday. While your normal mailman will be picking up food as well, we will also have volunteers picking up from our carriers to deliver back to the office so that they don't get overworked. In years past, there have been some issues. Some people have thought that maybe their food is being taken by opportunists. This year I hope to have some smocks identifying my volunteers so that they don't get unduly arrested. Thank you all for your consideration.
So again, that's this Saturday?
Saturday, May
Is the
11th.
food drive. Put food out
Yeah,
at your mailbox, and the mail carriers will pick it up. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Good information. Other public comment from either our audience today or council members?
I have something.
Yes. Deborah Clayton.
Yes, this Thursday from noon to 1, PennDOT Connects will be holding a webinar on planning for trucks in your community. It's a session will explore opportunities to improve land use planning for development to mitigate the impact of trucks on our roads, as well as discuss ongoing truck traffic issues and potential solutions. This is free. If anybody wants the connection to sign up for it, it will also be recorded, and I'll get a copy of the recording. But since we've got increased traffic from the development on Benner Pike, it's something to try and get ahead of.
So that's this Thursday?
This Thursday from 12 to 1.
From 12 to 1, where?
It's a webinar.
It's a webinar?
Yes.
On truck traffic issues impacting the Bellefonte area?
Yes.
And how can they access the webinar?
I can send out the connection to everybody if there's interest.
Okay.
Could that also be put on the website so that the public could look at it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah. Yep, you're welcome. Next, if there's no further public comment, is communications written. First one is the Center County Recycling.
Yes, there's a recycling report from the Center County Solid Waste Authority Recycling Center. There's no action, it's just an FYI. The second one is from the Center County Metropolitan Planning Organization. They're taking public comment through May 29th on the 2025 through 2028 Transportation Improvement Plan Air Quality Conformity Determination Report. If you're interested in that, we will also put that on our website, and you have the information in your materials, but we want to get the word out to try to get public comment on that report.
Other communications, that's it.
That's all I have this evening.
Okay, next then, excuse me, is the consent agenda. All items listed are considered routine and will be acted upon with one single motion. Can I have a motion to accept the consent
I'd like
agenda?
to pull the minutes to discuss them briefly, please.
Okay. Others?
I'll make the motion to accept consent agenda. And then I think even needs to say that she'd like to pull that,
Okay.
I think. So I think I need a second.
I'll second it.
Now, we need to
Okay, I'd like to pull it.
Purnell would like to pull the minutes from the consent agenda, okay? Discussion?
Okay, so I can talk now?
Yes.
Okay,
I think so.
I just wanted to, I have a few minor things that I noticed, and first of all, I wanted to say that our transcriptionist does generally really a good job with transcribing the meeting, considering what she has to work with as far as sound system goes. And I believe that really we should be limiting our corrections and additions to things that maybe she's unable to hear properly, like if we need to add a name when she didn't know the person was speaking or whatnot. So these two changes that I noticed in here are basically kind of a matter of principle to me at this point. I went back and I was looking at some of the changes that were suggested, And the first one may seem kind of silly, but under public comment, there was an addition that said primary election. So I went back and I listened to that section, and truly, the only word that was listed was April 23rd is Election Day. So there was really no reason to modify that other than, actually, I don't know why. But what was said was it is Election Day, and there's no reason to clarify that, in my opinion. Second, under the discussion about the minutes from the last time, there was a change to something that I read. The word absentee was crossed, and people reading the minutes was added. I was reading from a website, and I literally did say absentee, so there was no reason to change that to a different wording because that's not what I said. In the future, like I said, I'd really like it to be kept to just things that are clarifications, corrections, and not changing things that were said. And I think that's a pretty fair request.
Can you show where you were talking about? This first one I see, I don't see the second.
In the paragraph underneath the section about talking about the minutes, I said Purnell commented that according to Robert's Rules of Order, the purpose of the minutes is to allow absentees to see what was discussed from an impartial point of view. And that is literally what was on the website. So changing it to people reading the minutes was unnecessary and incorrect because that's not what I said.
I still don't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have listed the page. It's almost at the bottom of that paragraph.
Okay, I'll agree with you. I did that, but I was,
General comment is, say that again, you're saying we shouldn't spend time, borough council time, and resident time. What did you say?
I said we shouldn't be making changes other than corrections or additions to what the transcription is maybe unable to hear or may have made a mistake. There are occasions when she does make mistakes, and she might kick me in the shins for that, but no, she does a good job.
yeah, I just thought you had, when I didn't go through the transcript, but I heard people reading the minutes, not absentees.
And the video is indexed that we get from CNET, so we can, and that's what I do, is I go to that section rather than re-watching the whole thing. So if I have questions about something that's in there, I will go back and re-listen to it. So I just feel like we need to trust our transcriptionist and you know, like I said, in the rare instance that there is a mistake, obviously correct it, but we really don't need to be beefing them up any more necessarily than what she's doing.
Was there something you found that was incorrect that you need changed?
The wording that was changed where the word absentee was crossed, and like I said, it's a minor detail, but it's a matter of principle to me.
I don't have a problem with what she's saying.
Two issues, and then adding the word primary. And again, that is a minor detail, but again, it's one of those things that was really unnecessary.
I don't know if that was quite as far as the primary. I think the primary being in there fit to be there.
It wasn't said, though.
I wasn't really following what the hell they did in Pennsylvania by moving that ahead. They did. So I'm glad that primary was in.
But that's the only election that we have in April, and my point is it wasn't necessary to...
The first time it happened, nobody really promoted it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but again, that was not said.
And that's why I did it, but be it as it is.
Okay, good. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Anything else? There's a motion and a second to accept the open minutes, make the corrections. Now we will approve it. Motion and a second with the corrections. I'll make that motion. Thank you, Barbara.
I'll second correctly.
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Clayton,
Yes.
Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Basie.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is reports, and we're going to start with our mayor, Mr. Mayor Buddy Johnson, with a couple of things. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Could I please have Chief Whitmer, any law enforcement official who would like to come forward, and Lisa Larkin meet me over here for swearing in? Take these.
Do we want to get the microphone for them?
Speak up, Mr. Mayor. Oh, he has one.
Where we're gonna stand behind? Can we put it there? Please raise your right hand and respond with "I will." I, Lisa Larkin, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the laws and ordinances of the Borough of Bellefonte, and obey all laws and regulations pertaining to and governing the Borough of Bellefonte, and that as patrol officer of the Bellefonte Borough Police Department, I will well and faithfully discharge and perform all the duties of my office according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
I will.
Sworn and subscribed before me the 6th day of May, 2024. Welcome.
Thank you.
I would now like to call Andrew Hurd forward. Please raise your right hand. I, Andrew Hurd, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the laws and ordinances of the Borough of Bellefonte, and obey all the laws and regulations pertaining to and governing the Borough of Bellefonte, and that as patrol officer of the Bellefonte Borough Police Department, I will well and faithfully discharge and perform all the duties of my office according to the best of my knowledge and ability. Sworn and subscribed before me this 6th day of May, 2024. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, officers.
Yes. I also have a proclamation to read this evening. It is the National Police Week proclamation. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of Bellefonte Borough play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our department recognize their duty to serve the people and safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas our police department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Johnson, Mayor of the Borough of Bellefonte, do recognize the week of May 12th through 18th, 2024 as National Police Week, and further extend appreciation to our Acting Police Chief, William Whitmer, and to all law enforcement for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the community that they serve. Thank you.
I have a quick question. In the past, there's been a celebration ceremony at the courthouse during Police Week. Will there be one this year, and when is it?
It'll be next Wednesday, the 15th. It'll be down at Talleyrand Park. It'll be at 12 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, do you have anything to add? I won't put you on the spot, but, no? No. Okay, all right. Where'd the mayor go? He's getting signatures. Oh, okay. Wait till he's done. You good, sir? Yeah, no, you're good. Hey, I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to congratulate our 2 new officers, and I want to thank the Spring Township police officers who I see in the audience and the people here supporting our police department, which has been through a lot lately. And thank Chief Whitmer for everything he does. So you guys can stick around for the rest of this exciting meeting, or this is your time to hit it. I'll give you 2 minutes. Get out that door. You're welcome.
Sure, yes.
Okay. Junior Council Member, Mr. Larson, you're next on the list here for your report.
All right, so my report is a little bit longer this time than it has been in the past. We're finally wrapping up the school year, so we have a lot of events going on. We are still operating on a normal schedule, and we're halfway through the 4th quarter. Right now, we have AP testing, senior finals, and Keystone testing starting within the next 2 weeks. And Mr. Feddison, our principal, was named Pennsylvania Secondary Principal of the Year by the Pennsylvania Principals Association. In addition, the school recently hosted a career fair that allowed students to speak with local businesses to explore just different career opportunities that they can go into right out of high school. More recently, the seniors as well also had a financial reality fair so they could get exposed to different real-world financial situations like debt and student loans. So that taught them how to really just deal with budgeting. In addition, we had a mock accident planned on Friday last week. That was just to show us the negative consequences of drinking and driving. It was sort of a prom promise to us to just like not party and make sure we stay safe after prom. And then for our extracurriculars, we had 3 students qualified to attend FBLA's National Leadership Conference. Law Day for seniors was on May 2nd, so the seniors got to go down to the courthouse and just see how the court system works and police officers and everything like that. The underclassmen prom was on May 4th, and senior prom with their overnight party is planned for May 18th, and the graduation ceremony is June 1st at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Any questions?
I do. Would you share with us a little bit more about the career fair and some of the things that you were interested in or found very interesting or different?
So the career fair had quite a few different community businesses. So there were some like agriculture type businesses, there was banks there was just a whole lot of things. Julie was there representing the community. some things that I found interesting were some of the like medical fields that they had there. So they had Guy Singer there, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know for sure they had Guy Singer there. It was nice to talk to them. But overall, it was just a great experience just to see the different opportunities that we had outside of high school, even if we didn't want to attend college. So
Great, thank you.
Excellent report there, Mr. Larson. Thank you. Moving on is the Office of Community Affairs. Ms. Thompson is not here tonight. There is a HARB meeting on Tuesday, May 14th at 8:30 a.m. in the large meeting room of the Armory Building. That's where we're at right now, even though the table's small. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, May 13th at 5 p.m. in the large meeting room in the Armory Building. The next Nittany Valley Joint Planning Commission meeting will be held Thursday, May 16th at 6 p.m. at Marion Township. I'm asking for a motion and a second to approve the demolition of the structures at 361 South Spring Street as recommended by HARB. Obviously, this is part of their report.
Zoning, not HARB.
Yeah, it's outside the Harb district. There's photos in your materials. It's a demolition request, and years ago, outside the historic district, the Borough Council approved an ordinance that said anytime there's a demolition request, it has to be approved by council.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion? All right.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Basie?
Yes.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question? It's not OCA, but it's about as close as in the entire agenda. Is there a beta meeting this Wednesday?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's at 6:30.
Next is current and old business. First thing is the estimates for moving the borough offices, which we talked about last time, I believe, to the Armory Building and moving the police department contents to the second floor. The estimate came in, so I'm asking for a motion and a second to accept the estimate of $7,700 from RDI Cleanouts LLC to make that move.
I'll make that motion, Brockville.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion, questions?
Yes, I personally know RDI Cleanouts. Russ and I are pretty good friends. He actually cleaned out my parents' home for me, and you won't find a harder working crew of people. They stopped for half an hour to have lunch, and they were there like at 7:30 before me, of course, and worked until 6 o'clock. And it was just nonstop. They are hardworking, they are very personable, and whoever's around them, please feel free to joke around with them. It makes their day, especially Russ. So I highly recommend them.
Thank you. Others?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Basie?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, you read in your packet, excuse me, about the traffic impact study for Bellefonte Elementary School review by the Trans Associates. Any questions or comments relative to that?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Joanne.
In the document, there's a sentence that says, realign the intersection of State Route 2002 Governor's Park Road and State Route 2002 Southern Driveway and remove the northbound channelized right turn lane. What does this mean? My thought when I read it was, are they asking for a straightening of Airport Road at Zion Road, which could result in an eminent domain taking of land at that corner?
No, they're talking about Airport Road at the intersection of Governor's Park Road. You know where that kind of hill is? It's awkward.
Yes.
They're going to clean that up and put 2 stop signs in. From what I read in the letter, that all is on the school district. In addition to that, they are going to put a traffic signal in at Zion Road and Airport Road. So that's really the improvements to the streets.
Thank you.
So by realigning, they're basically meaning flattening that out and moving it over a little bit? Is that what that means?
It's a little difficult. There's only a couple sentences there, as you saw. There's no diagram, but that's what it appears to be. It appears to clean up that intersection.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Stewart. Next is the Governor's Park Baseball Field usage fee for sanctioned baseball programs. I'll need a motion and a second to approve an $80 a day fee and a $1,000 season fee for sanctioned baseball programs be added to the fee schedule.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second Brackville.
Thank you. Discussion or questions? This is all good? All right.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Miss Clayton.
Yes.
Miss Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Miss McKean.
Yes.
Miss Purnell.
Yes.
Miss Sedgwick.
Yes.
Miss Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Next is the Governor's Park Baseball Field batting cage. Motion and a second to approve the moving the batting cage proposed building site from its current location, which council already approved, to the area located behind the press box.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Miss Clayton.
Yes.
Miss Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Miss McKean.
Yes.
Miss Purnell.
Yes.
Miss Sedgwick.
Yes.
Miss Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Next is CETA and COG will post an RFQ, lots of abbreviations, on behalf of the Borough for engineering design and construction management services for the CDBG work related to the suspension bridge in Talleyrand Park. The RFQ will be posted on May 8th and quotes will be open until June 6th. Everybody got that? Okay. Thank you. Next is the new business. List of items to be auctioned on the municipal. Need a motion and a second approving the list that was given to us in our packet and I guess posted on municipal.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Miss Clayton.
Yes.
Miss Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Miss McKean.
Yes.
Miss Purnell.
Yes.
Miss Sedgwick.
Yes.
Miss Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Next is the HVAC unit replacement. Large meeting room / new council chambers at 301 North Spring Street. I need a motion and a second to approve the price from PBC Allen, a Co-Stars approved vendor. Did they give us a price?
Yes.
$33,000.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion?
Actually, it's $33,800.
Yeah, where's the funding coming from?
Well, temporarily, we're using general fund revenues. This has nothing to do with the elevator or any of that stuff. It's a 30-year-old piece of equipment, and it only did one, I think it only did heating. The new unit will do both heating and cooling, and that's why we're recommending to put in a new unit instead of putting new money in a 30-year-old unit. But we've talked with the committee that's working with the Armory here, and we're going to have to do some financing to cover the cost overruns for this building. Some are related to the elevator project, and some are not.
I thought the last time we had this discussion, when I asked the question about where the additional funds were and why some things were in the 301 versus the capital funds, I was told that anything related to this building would come, for this kind of expense, would come out of the capital funds, not the general fund.
There's temporary funds. I think Lori answered your question. but we're doing some temporary funding for this equipment, and unless you don't want to, but we did agree, or council approved, that all new expenses would come to council, so that's why it's here on the agenda. It's up to council whether you want to act on it or not.
I think we need to act on it. That's not my question. My question is just as Randy's was, where is it coming from? The general budget doesn't, to me, seem appropriate because it is actually a capital improvement of this building. So I believe that it should be best come out of there, and if there's not funds in the capital, what we've done in the past is gone to bulk water, not the general fund.
There are funds in the general fund to cover this. It's a temporary measure. We're going to look at financing for long-term. It's a short-term measure. Once we get all the costs added up, we'll go to looking at how much we need to borrow, but it's a short-term measure out of the general fund.
Okay, so the cost is going to come out of the general fund.
Could we clarify the motion to say that this is a temporary use out of the general fund to be fixed later when we know how much additional funds we need for a loan?
Yes, I think you can do that.
So that's my motion.
I'll second that. Right.
What do we do with the first motion?
This is an amendment, so we vote on that and then vote on the whole thing with the amendment if it passes.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackville?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Basie?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is, are we done with that?
Now to vote on
I can't read your lips.
That was the amendment. Now do the motion for the approval.
So now we have to vote on the first one. Clear as,
Okay, Mr. Bernier?
yes.
Mr. Brackville?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Basie?
Yes.
Bellefonte Borough Ornamental Lighting Rehab Project. A motion and a second to approve the proposal from Barton and Longides. Jeez.
That's close
Do we have an
enough.
abbreviation for that? B and
B&L.
in the amount of $37,500.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Thank you.
second it.
Thank you. Questions or discussion?
And again, I'm looking for where the funding's coming from on this one.
This will come out of the street lighting fund. We did increase the taxes in that fund back in 23 for the 24 budget. It's not going to cover, oops, too many microphones. Yes. We're going to, start this process, but we probably will end up needing to finance the street lighting project, the rehab project, and we want to get that estimate in when we go to borrow money for this elevator project. So we do one borrowing, we have everything covered. So that's our plan.
And Ralph, one other question on this. This cost is basically just for the scope of work, I think, that they're looking at. Or other fee estimate, it had to study the construction documents and construction administration, and that's all that money's covering.
Yes, they're the engineers. That's what they do. They help us all the engineering work, laying out the plans, what we would use to go out to bid with. There's an assessment of the current lighting. I know that's been an issue with various councils. If you see a part of the scope that you don't want, we know we can take it out, but what we tried to put in or tried to convey to the engineers was an assessment of the current lighting, and rehabbing the current system. It's still going to be expensive, but this is less expensive than the wholesale replacement of what we have. So that's what we came up with.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
One of them I think is minor, maybe rather, I don't call it picky, but the letter is addressed to the Bellefonte Borough Authority.
Yes, I noticed that the B&L is used by the authority. We'll make that correction and let them know.
I thought that was
Yes.
going to be a very, very easy one.
Yes.
The other one is, let me ask this question first, and then depending on the answer, I'll make my second statement. Does this contract include them writing the standards that will go out as the RFP to the bidders?
I'm not sure could you repeat that?
Okay, there's a thing in there about, let me just find the words, construction RFP are they going to write up the RFPs that will then go out to the people who are going to be bidding on it?
Yes, that's part of what we had them as part of the scope. They'll do actually a formal bidding process because of the value or the cost of the project. It'll be more than a request for proposals. It'll be requesting for bids, and they'll do all the specifications and all the bidding notices that have to take place. Yeah, they'll do all that for us.
Okay. In that case, I would like to add one additional, let me see, what do they call it? To the scope of services, to indicate that they will include in that bid document that harbor review will be included in the construction RFP document B&L creates for prospective bidders. The administration can craft the exact language for that additional thing. And I will say why I want to do this once we have a second.
Didn't you say that was going to include it?
They mentioned they would attend a couple meetings of council. I don't think they said anything about harb review that I saw. Did you see anything, Julie? I don't think that is in there, so.
That's why I'm asking it to be added, because it is in the historic district.
What we can do, the lighting heads may change. It's too early to tell. The poles, we want to keep the poles that we have and possibly fill in with new poles where needed. But our goal is to replicate what we have, but there could be some slight differences. I can easily mention to them or have them revise the scope that the HARB approval is also requested.
Well, replicating what we have covers that, doesn't it?
According to the
Okay.
interior.
Do we have a second for Joanne's motion? No second. All right. Need a vote on the original one then? To approve
Yes.
the proposed proposal from B&L in the amount of $37,500.
Yes.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Holderman. Next is the Bellefonte Borough will be applying for a DEP Section 902 recycling grant this year. The match for the borough will be approximately $20,068. Equipment purchased will be a screener for compost and mulch, covers for the finished compost, and an extension to the pad area for material storage and processing. No council action is required. Next is residents interested in having a shade tree planted in their right-of-way. Please contact the borough at 814-355-1501 to be added to the planting list. Again, if you're interested in having a shade tree planted in your right-of-way, please contact the borough at 814-355-1501.
Mr., that's at no cost to the
No
residents.
cost, that's right. That's important. Thank you. Finally, the retirement recognition for borough employees open house is Thursday, June 13th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the large meeting room here at the Armory, 301 North Spring Street. Again, that's for retiree recognition of borough employees open house, Thursday, June 13th, 2 to 4 p.m. So we'll remind people before.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, questions,
Yes,
comments?
yeah, I got a comment. Before we adjourn here, I wanted to make note, just as a reminder to the public, the townwide yard sale is this Friday and Saturday, and riffraff is next week. So whatever day your refuse is picked up next week, that's your riffraff day.
And could I add something that was here at the table that, and Julie might be able to add to it? There's a Center County Solar Tour on Saturday, May 18th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There are, I believe, 7 or 8 homes.
Yes, we do have that posted on the website as well, so you can go right to that link, and it requires registration. So, yes. And there are some homes in Bellefonte as well.
So it's on the website to register, okay?
Correct, yes.
Thank you. All right, I need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, please.
So moved, Braxville.
Second.
Meeting adjourned, thank you.